Hello, this is Greg the Rural Economist. Today's video, or this video, is going to be different than anything that I've ever done. But I'm going to tell you how it came about. I was at work a couple of weeks ago, I guess, and my boss said about somebody else, they were drunker than Cooter Brown, and I don't even know who Cooter Brown is. And I turned around and said, I do you want to know? So I told her the story. And I realized that we say a lot of things, especially here in the South, but I think it actually happens everywhere else. It's just we get more attention because ours is so colorful that a lot of people don't know what the crap we're talking about. So I decided, and I actually have been doing this on Instagram, so if you want it as it happens, you can follow the Rural Economist on Instagram. But I started doing these little segments of Southern sayings, what they mean and where they come from, on Instagram. This is a compilation of several of those. Now, if you're familiar with Instagram, each one of those has to be less than a minute. So I talk a lot faster in those. But this is Southern sayings, what they mean, where they come from somebody not making fun of them, but somebody who has heard them all their life and actually uses quite a few of them. I hope you enjoy it. Have you ever heard somebody say, well, I'll be John Brown, and then wonder, who the heck was John Brown? Well, John Brown was a militant abolitionist. He believed that the only way to end slavery in the United States was to arm the slaves and have them overthrow their owners. He made a big ruckus in Kansas. There was two massacres, actually, and he raided an armory in what is now West Virginia. He was captured by none other than Robert E. Lee, and he was tried and found guilty of treason against the Commonwealth of Virginia, murder of 5 people, and insurrection. And he was hanged. Some people see him as a hero, some people see him as a villain. But when somebody says, I'll be John Brown, what they really mean is, I'll be hanged, or I'll be damned. Man, that sure is walker-jawed. Or, man, he got walker-jawed last night. Walker-jawed is actually thought to be a derivative of a word from England in the 16th century called wapper-jaw. Back then it meant that there was a physical deformity, like the jaw jutted out too far or wasn't shaped just right. Well, that doesn't mean it anymore. It means anything that's unkempt, uneven, twisted, curved, warped, unsquare, or unlevel. Related term is cattywampus. Cattywampus, they don't really know where it came from. There's some ideas, but none of them are right. I just know they're not. And cattywampus is the same thing. It means unsquare, unkempt, or just not right. He's barking up the wrong tree. Barking up the wrong tree has been used as a phrase to say that you're going the wrong path to achieve your destination, or the path that you have chosen is not going to provide the destination that you believe. There's actually some argument over where it come from, and I find it interesting that 2 different groups are hoping that they get it. One's the squirrel hunting group and one's the coon hunting group. Okay? I did some coon hunting when I was a kid, so I'm going to say that they're probably the ones that come up with it, because when you're out there hunting, when the dog has treed a raccoon, it gives a bark, a specific bark, and when you go up, there's a lot of times the dog is lying, or the coon has climbed up so far, climbed right back down and went somewhere else. It's not going to provide them what they need. So that's what it means to be barking up the wrong tree. He was drunker than Cooter Brown. Cooter Brown was a man who lived right along the Mason-Dixon line about the time the war between the states broke out. He had family that joined the sides of the Union and the sides of the Confederacy. Cooter didn't want to fight. So what did Cooter do? Cooter got drunk. He decided that if he stayed drunk the whole time the war was broken out, that neither side would want to draft him. You know what? He was right. So he stayed drunk for over 4 years. Since that time, everybody who's ever tied on one too many has been compared to Mr. Cooter Brown. What a way to be famous, but I guess he did get out of fighting. I hadn't seen you in a month of Sundays. A month of Sundays is one of those terms that the South just kind of adapted. It didn't actually start in the South. The first recorded writing of a month of Sundays that I've been able to find was actually in 1759 in a book. So month of Sundays have been around a long time. It doesn't just mean about 30 weeks or about 7 months. Sundays back then, they had a lot of laws and rules and things you could and couldn't do on Sundays, so a lot of people got bored. So sometimes Sundays seemed like they went a lot longer than the average day. So a month of Sundays just means I hadn't seen you in a long time, or I'm going to be doing something for a long time. If the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, that's a term that I actually use quite a bit. It's attributed to two different possibilities of learning. One is Benjamin Hawkins. Benjamin Hawkins was the envoy to the Native Americans by the United States government in the late 1700s and the early 1800s. Supposedly, he wrote that in a letter to Thomas Jefferson when Jefferson said, "I want you to return to Washington." He said, well, if the creek don't rise. Only one problem, he was actually dedicated to the Creek Indian tribe, married one, and was actually adopted by the tribe. The other one has to do with travel, just travel in general. Back then, most of the roads didn't have fancy bridges and you had to ford a creek, so a quick little rain shower could make the road impassable. Everybody tends to agree that the roads and not the Indians are what caused this saying to come apart. In fact, the first recorded time is 1894 in a newspaper from Louisiana. There you go. Well, there you have it. That's a few Southern sayings, where they come from, what they mean. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure and leave me a comment, a thumbs up, a share, whatever it is that you want to do. I always appreciate all those things. And remember, step by step, we're bringing rural back. Have a great day.